Hey, 7th grade. This is Mrs. Hollenbeck. I know the color is kind of funky, but I'm in my dining room, or the kitchen, and it's darker, so you get kind of that eerie look, I guess. We're going to do a WordMaster lesson. This video is the WordMaster lesson, and for those of you who are new, we do a WordMaster 3 times a year, and it's an analogy challenge, and we compete against numerous schools in the entire nation, and we do pretty well with that. A portion of the lesson, well, all of the lesson will be a grade, and our quiz will be a grade, but the B itself is not necessarily a grade, all right? But it does earn you a free lesson. So I will explain that more on Monday and Tuesday as you have questions. The lesson for this, I will run off hard copies tomorrow, but you can also download it off of Teacherease. I've already put it on there. Okay? So there are 25 words for this, so this video will be a little bit longer. But this first lesson, they have quite a few words that we've already used, that we've already seen in previous lessons, previous vocab lessons. So I want to hit those first. So on your worksheet, if you have your worksheet with you, on your worksheet, let's go ahead and knock out those that we already know, that we've already been exposed to. And then I'm going to kind of jump around because I want to hit the words that have something in common, or they're very, very distinctly opposite in meaning. And so that's how we're going to go about working through this lesson. All right? Then the quiz on November 30th looks exactly like this first page of your lesson, except all I do is switch around the definitions. The wording is all the same. I just switch the definitions. All right? So here we go. I want to have you skip down to number 8, encumber. Now we had that word already. It's a verb. And if you remember, we talked about encumber being weighed down with burden, okay, or you're burdened with troubles. If you encumber somebody, you add a lot of responsibility to their heavy load. If you feel encumbered, then you feel, oh man, I just have tons of stuff to get done, I'm overwhelmed. You feel so much like you're carrying a bunch of burdens, all right? That's encumber, okay, and it's a verb. So try to match that up with the definition on the right side of your paper. Okay, moving down, number 16, axiom. And we just had that. Axiom is a noun, and you remember, or you might remember, it's the universal truth, you know, something that is commonly accepted as true. That's what an axiom is. Okay? Let me look to make sure I have all of the ones that I think that's it. All right. Now let's hit the ones that are easy. All right, because some of them are I think kind of easy. For instance, number 20, tax. I know it can be a noun or a verb. You can tax someone, or you could pay a tax. A tax, you know, your parents pay tax. When you buy something at the store, you pay sales tax. That's money that is levied against the consumer in order to support different programs or things set up by the government. Some taxes go to pay for emergency services, firefighters, police, you know, this sort of thing. All right, so tax, it can be a noun. The government can tax its people, or the people pay taxes. All right, but it's usually a sum of money that a person is responsible to pay in order to support programs. If something is taxing, then it's a burden. All right, and so we see how the word taxing and encumber can be related because they both add burden. Okay, most people don't like to have taxes raised and this sort of thing. So you can see the burden part of it. We understand tax. That's a pretty easy one. Looking through, I'm going to jump to 13. I'm going to jump to word 13 because it's an easy one and it really doesn't relate to any of the others. An eddy is a noun, and it's like a small whirlpool. Okay, although you may have been in or at an ocean and just because of the way the rocks move and you see a little the tide pools, they might have a little eddy in it or something. It's just a small little whirlpool. Okay, so that one's pretty easy. Another meaning, for instance, wearing headbands a certain way, some sort of trend, that could be an eddy. So wearing those little thin headbands, you know, to keep the hair back in sports for gals, that's an eddy. Okay, any little trend that kind of is there, is popular for a little bit and then it's gone. Okay, some trend. Let's see. Trying to see. Oh, 11 is an easy one. I think one that you've heard before. To caress or a caress. It could be a noun or a verb. A caress is kind of like it's like a gesture of affection. All right. So you know, your mom might, you know, just kind of rub the side of your head or your shoulder, a gentle patting on the back. That's a caress, a sign of affection. All right, or somebody could caress your back or your shoulders, or, you know, I used to run my fingers through my daughter's hair. You know, just a gentle sort of sign of affection. All right, that's what a caress is. Okay, noun or verb. Another noun or verb, and I think you probably have heard the word tether before. A tether is, those of you who might be involved with horses, or you could tether another pet. A tether could be like a rope or a chain that hooks them, a pet, giving them a certain distance to roam, but they can't, like setting up a boundary, okay, it's tied to one end, and then they're on the other end, so they are tethered, okay, so they cannot go past that distance, right, and the tether itself can be the chain or rope, or if you tether an animal, you put it on a chain or a rope to give them that certain distance, okay. There was a popular game back in my day and age. I don't know that you would even recognize it, but it was tetherball. And there was a post, and there was like a chain, and a ball was attached to the chain, like a volleyball size. And it was a tether ball, and we would push or hit the ball to try to get it to go around the pole, and the opposing side would try to hit it back before it could go all the way around the pole. All right, it only had a certain length of rope or chain because it was tethered to that pole. It was a fun game. It's not popular anymore. I don't know why not. It was kind of fun. Okay, so that's tether, number 2. Let me give you a couple of pairs of words that are very similar in meaning. All right, they're synonymous. Okay, number 10 and number 25. Those words are very similar. All right. They're both nouns. Okay. And a deadlock, it's when you're at a point in a no escape or no progress. You can't make any more progress in a situation because you're deadlocked. Okay, you can't move. Okay, the problem is such that neither side is giving in or compromising any further. You can't, and so you are at a deadlock. Votes may come down to a deadlock if you have an even number. Okay, and therefore no progress can be made. All right. Juries might become deadlocked because there's no. They got to a point where, they just can't progress anymore because people are firm in their beliefs of what they think happened in the particular trial or whatever. All right. There's no more progress. They've like a dead end. Okay. They're deadlocked. They can't progress. An impasse is very similar to that. And an impasse is like when you come to a dead end, or like there's no way out, there's no escape. A cul-de-sac, how many of you live in cul-de-sacs? That's an impasse. There's no way to get out. You have to turn around and go back the way you came in. Okay, that's an impasse. Perhaps you're discussing something with somebody, something you feel passionate about. It may have been with politics or whatever, considering, the recent election, and you get to a point where you're at an impasse because both parties feel so strongly that they're right, that, there's no way to work it out. Okay? No give and take there. Okay, that's an impasse. So those are pretty similar in meaning. All right. Let's see. I thought there was another. One that was pretty close together. Sort of. Number 14 and number 18. Those are both what coddle is a verb and hospitable is an adjective. They're kind of similar. Remember, coddle, that's going to be an action. If you coddle somebody, you are indulging them, you're taking care of them, making sure every need's met, spoiling almost. All right, trying to keep them. If you coddle them, you try to keep them away from any negative thing. And oh, you're the best. You're sleepy. I want to make sure you get all your rest. You know, just overly. So, overly taking care of them, overindulging. That's when you're coddling. Okay. Hospitable, you're being kind and you're being generous at an appropriate level. Okay. People who are hospitable open their homes. They give freely of just generosity, freely of their food, time. If you have guests over for Thanksgiving and you're being hospitable, you want to make sure that they have something to drink, or they have what they need. You might take their coat. You might, what football game do they want to watch? All right, so you're kind of putting your needs and desires second, and putting your guests in front of yourself if you're being hospitable. Okay, so those are kind of on the same. Let's see. Here it is. Duh. Number 1 and number 22 are very similar. All right. Breach can be a noun or a verb. Cleft I think just a noun. Yeah, just a noun. So breach is noun and verb. Cleft is just noun. Okay, so you might be taking a cruise to Alaska, and all of a sudden the loudspeaker comes on. They say, "Oh, off on the side of the ship, look over there, the whale breaches the ocean," okay, or the water. That means it breaks through the water, okay? So a breach is a break-in, all right? Now, you can have a breach of contract. That means in this agreement, in this contract that was made, somebody broke one of the stipulations in that contract. That's a breach of contract. There might be a breach in a relationship. All right, a break in a relationship. Something, there's an argument and it causes that relationship to break up. Okay, that's a breach in a relationship. Okay, now a cleft is like a tear. All right, a rock split. There's kind of a tear. All right, and the rock, that's a cleft in the rock. it can be kind of a hollow space. Some people have a cleft in their chin, a little indentation in their chin. Okay, have you ever seen that? A little cleft in their chin. Okay, that's a tear. And we talked, maybe it was the 8th graders, we talked about some people are born with a cleft palate. That means the part up there in their mouth has a split in it, and so they have surgery right away to have it fixed. Now, individuals in foreign countries, sometimes they don't get that, and so plastic surgeons from America are groups that travel and they fix cleft palates, okay, because there's the palate, it is split there, and so then they fix it. That's a cleft, okay? So cleft is a noun, breach is a noun or a verb, okay? So that was another one. Trying to see others that might have some similarity. I'm not seeing. So, let me kind of give you some that are kind of related. You could relate them. Number 4 and number 5 can be related. And I know when you were in 6th grade, those of you who were at Bethlehem, when you studied the India as a culture, number 4, caste, they had a caste system where, well, you were born into that certain level, you stayed there. All right? There was no movement. So if your parents were peasants and you were born into that, you were a peasant. And that's how you would be your entire life. There was no movement within the caste system. Okay, there is no movement. And it's very rigid. All right? Very rigid. Once you're born into that layer or that level, that's where you stay. Okay? A caste system, and caste is a noun, I believe. Maybe it could be used as an adjective, but I believe it's noun. I think I put noun on here, I believe. Looking, yes, I did. I put it as noun. So, going to number 5, stratify is a verb. Now, think of a stratus, stratosphere, the different layers in the atmosphere, okay? And the stratus, it talks about layers. If you stratify something, you layer it. I stratify my lasagna, right? I layer it. A caste system is stratified, okay? There are different layers, all right, and often put into a hierarchy, okay, meaning that the lowest is at the bottom, and then the next layer is more important, and the next layer is more important and usually wealthier, okay, and so that's the different layers of society, okay. Now, we don't have a caste system here in America. You're born into a poor family doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be poor, you know. Nor, if you're born in a rich family, doesn't mean you're going to stay rich, okay. So, no stratifying here. Although, I think sometimes with our judgments, we might do that. In our sinful nature, sometimes I think we judge and we stratify people based on our judgments of them, and in our sinful nature, we do that. All right. So you can kind of see how those two are connected. I hope. Once again, cast as a noun, stratify as a verb. There are two words here that are well, there are a couple of pairs that are opposites. Let's take a look at some opposites, some distinct opposites. Number 6, urbane. And that's an adjective. Okay, and we can see the word urban in it. Now, to remind you, urban is city, rural is country, urban, city. So urbane, anything having to do with the city and sophistication. All right, this type of sophistication one might find in a big city. Okay. I love watching. Well, I love Jane Austen books, and in her books, they're always, kind of looking at country manners and city manners. The urbane, or the city is urbane, and the provincial. Let's take a look at that word. That's number 21. That's the opposite. Okay, provincial is an adjective, but it's manners, ideas that are kind of rustic, that are kind of small town, country-ish. I tell my 8th graders all the time, not to let Disney, educate you or whatever. But in the song Beauty and the Beast, that first song, she talks about the small provincial town, all right? How their ideas and their practices are just so small and so stifling that it was hard for Belle, who wanted big ideas and excitement and new things. That was aggravating for her. All right, it was stifling. So provincial means very small town, very, very rustic. All right, no newfangled ways of doing things. All right, if it's provincial, it's, that's the way we've always done it, we're not changing it, and no newfangled ideas. All right, nothing urbane. Okay, they have their own way of doing things, their own manners. Okay, so let's see, that's urbane, and okay, some more opposites. Number 3 and number 15. Oblique is an adjective. Forthright is an adjective. Okay, those are opposites. Oblique, and you may have heard the word oblique when you're talking about angles. Okay, or in geometry, some geometry stuff, you might have heard the term oblique, and it is, not parallel, not perpendicular. All right, it's kind of a it goes away from the straight line. All right, it's not straightforward. Okay, if somebody gives an oblique, so if they give oblique directions, they're not straightforward, or if they give an oblique explanation, it's like they're jumping from one explanation or idea to another, and you can't get a straightforward answer. It's like, what are you, just tell me straight out what you're trying to say. Don't hint around to it. Just tell me straight out. Okay, that's an oblique explanation. All right. Forthright is the opposite. Forthright, an adjective. Boy, it's straight out. Okay. Telling you straight out something is the way it is. Okay. Or this is what happened. I was coming home. I ran a red light and I got stopped and I got a ticket. That's what happened. Okay? Bad mistake. If I were giving an oblique explanation to my husband of why I got this ticket, well, this dog ran out and I was kind of looking, I was kind of distracted. Then I saw this old woman, the radio, one of my favorite songs was on, and Chloe's talking to me in the back, and a red light. How was your day today? See, kind of jumping around. I'm not giving a straightforward sort of answer there. Okay. Going down the list, I think I have given you everything except a few. So let me hit those. Okay. Smirch. Smirch is a noun or a verb. If you smirch somebody's reputation, you put a black mark on it, a stain. All right, you stain their reputation. You might stain their integrity. All right, or you might have your own smirched, besmirched. All right, a smirch is a stain or a black mark or some sort of mark that decreases the value, okay, that tarnishes perhaps a reputation. That's what a smirch is, okay. If you didn't do something that somebody said you did, they might smirch your reputation. Okay? Because people say, well, who's lying here? You know? Okay. Number 9, squalid. This is an adjective. Squalid is a, we would describe an environment or situation as squalid if it's very stricken with poverty and grungy and dirty and filthy and just poverty stricken. All right, that would be a squalid situation. All right. I forget the movie. Okay, I'm not going to give that one because I can't remember. But Les Miserables, that's coming out in December, the movie, I can't wait. But a lot of the French peasants lived in squalid conditions, just extreme poverty, which led to filth and disease and illness. Okay, so I can't wait to go to that movie. A lot of good movies out right now. We got Deadlock, we got Hackneyed. Hackneyed 12. Now Hackneyed, you might be able to wrap your mind around this word. It's an adjective, okay? And it's something that's used so much, it's become commonplace. Remember the term we use, cliché? And that was a trite expression. If something is hackneyed, it has been used so much like an excuse. Could be hackneyed. All right? Oh, the dog ate it. Oh, that's a hackneyed excuse. It's so commonplace. Nobody believes it. All right? Even if it were true, be believed because it's hackneyed. It's like, duh, come up with something original. So hackneyed means not original at all. Okay, it could be a statement, it could be a behavior, an excuse. Okay, anything that has, because it's been used so much, it's commonplace, and yeah, it's just not as effective. It loses its effect because it's been used so much. Okay, you know, a theme, depends on, some people might get tired of a certain theme because, oh, it seems like all these books have the same theme. I'm thinking that the whole vampire and those monster, those characters are becoming hackneyed, because everybody and their mother seems to be writing about a vampire, trying to tweak their own little thing with regards to the vampire, but it's becoming hackneyed. Okay? Own opinion. Own opinion. We did Eddie and coddle, forthright axiom. Number 17, traverse. I've used this word in class. It's a verb. If you traverse, kind of like travel. You go, you can go walk. We traverse the halls every day. I traverse the halls every single day, considering my room is the exact opposite of any place else that I ever really need to go. Like the office, the cafeteria, the playground. Okay, I must traverse. So I have to go down the stairs, a couple of flights of stairs, down the hall, down another hall, down some more stairs, down some more stairs. I'm traversing, all right? I'm going across different stairs, flat surfaces, whatever. I am traveling across those things, through those things, under whatever, to get to the cafeteria. So I must traverse stairs, hallways, more stairs to get to the cafeteria. Okay. Some of you might traverse different roads, traverse valleys and whatever to get to relatives' house for Thanksgiving, perhaps. Okay. But it usually means traveling on foot. You wouldn't traverse if you were going to fly someplace. Okay? It usually means either walking, usually not used with cars either. Traversing, it could be with cars, but generally speaking it's not. It's usually just on foot. Okay? Hospitable we did. Scintilla. Scintilla is a noun. And a scintilla is a tiny, 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 minute portion or particle of something else. Okay? So, when I make this pecan cheesecake that I'm going to make, it's kind of a pie, but it has cream cheese. It's really good. There's rarely even a scintilla left of it. All right, we lick the pan. So scintilla is a very little tiny speck. So what does your mom make or grandma make that, boy, there's not even a scintilla left after Thanksgiving dinner? Hey, write in to Dr. H and tell me about it, okay? I want to hear what your family makes that is gobbled up at Thanksgiving dinner so that there's not even a scintilla left, okay? We talked about tax, provincial, breach. Oh, 23, mall. This is a noun or a verb. You probably have heard that verb, you know, so-and-so got mauled by a bear. Oh, like that. One kid up in Alaska, man, the bear was chasing him. He got his head. That bear was mauling him. Okay, that's, you know, causing injury in a very violent sort of way, like beating him up, you know, very violent sort of way, with a beating. You know, we can get injured numerous ways. You know, you could cut yourself. I was washing dishes and the glass broke and it cut my knuckles. All right, that's not a mauling. I just got cut. So a maul, if you are mauled, it means you are injured with a beating. You're taking a beating. Okay. A maul, the noun form, is actually a club, or a big hammer. All right, that could do the beating. Okay, usually this type of maul was used. You would use it for tent stakes, okay, or something like that. A big hammer to hammer in the stakes for a tent. Okay, that's kind of what, or earlier meaning might be like a club. Okay, all right. And number 24, that's our last one, replete. Replete, very similar to, oh, that's an 8th grade word, sorry. Replete means filled with, overflowing. Like, I'm guessing your Thanksgiving table will be replete with different kinds of yummy foods. Okay? Kind of the opposite of squalor, or squalid conditions where they wouldn't have so much. When I was doing movie reviews some years ago, I did that for a side job. I would do movie reviews for a Christian website, and I would have to say, okay, yeah, this movie is replete with foul language. It was filled with foul language. Okay. Or replete with positive messages. You know, filled with positive messages. Okay. So that's what replete means. Filled with something. All right. There's a lot of it in there. Okay. Well, I hope this helps you through the list. If I missed one, I don't think I did, but, you know, I could have. If I did, please let me know, and hope this helps you out. I'll explain how the WordMaster works more on Monday and Tuesday, so those of you who aren't used to this can get a handle on it, okay? Make sure to tell me on Dr. H what not even a scintilla is left at your Thanksgiving table. Okay? We'll see you later.